Hey there. If you're tuning in right now, I want to take a moment to speak directly to you. The world is full of uncertainty, and if you're watching this, you're likely concerned about being prepared. That's good. You're already ahead of most people by even thinking about what it takes to survive and thrive in tough times. But let's take it further. Preparedness isn't just about gathering supplies or watching videos. It's about developing a mindset, adopting practical habits, and staying focused. So, let's dive into some critical principles of preparedness that you should take to heart, whether you're just starting out or have been at this for years. Number 1. Never let emotions take over. This is the foundation. Everything starts and ends with mindset. It's human nature for people to react emotionally, especially in crisis situations. News outlets and social media are experts at stoking fear because fear grabs attention. You might see headlines that scream disaster, and your immediate reaction could be panic. I'm here to tell you that panic is the enemy of preparedness. You've probably experienced that feeling before. You see a scary news story or a YouTube video with an alarming thumbnail, and suddenly you feel the urge to run out and buy things you don't even need, just because of that jolt of fear. You must learn to recognize those emotional triggers and take a step back. Fear-based decisions lead to bad choices, like spending money on the wrong supplies, or worse, putting yourself in unnecessary danger. You've got to keep a level head, no matter how overwhelming things feel. Preparedness is a marathon, not a sprint, and panic never helps anyone run a marathon. Instead, when you feel fear creeping in, use it as an opportunity to slow down, breathe, and evaluate your next steps logically. Fear is natural, but don't let it dictate your actions. Be aware of it, but don't be ruled by it. What does this look like in practice? Let's say there's breaking news about a supply chain disruption, and people are raiding grocery stores. Instead of running out in a panic, take a moment to assess. Do you already have enough stock at home? What's truly running low, and what's just hype? Always think consciously about your next move. It's okay to feel fear, but it's not okay to let it control you. Number 2, never assume you know everything. I can't stress this enough. No one knows everything. You might have been prepping for years, or maybe you've been around long enough to think you've seen it all. But the truth is, there's always more to learn. I've been around the block a few times myself, both from formal education and from the school of hard knocks. But even I know there's always someone out there who can teach me something new. Maybe that person is younger, maybe they have a different background, but that doesn't mean they don't have something valuable to share. Humility is a superpower in preparedness. When someone asks, "Hey, have you considered this?" your first reaction shouldn't be to dismiss them. Instead, take a moment to think about it. Research it if you need to, and see if they have a point. You may find out something you never even considered before, and that's the kind of open-mindedness that could save your life. The worst thing you can do is assume you have all the answers. This is a fight for survival, not a contest to see who knows more. So stay humble, stay open to learning, and understand that survival is an ever-evolving game. Whether it's learning new skills, gaining insights from others, or staying updated on new technologies or strategies, you need to always be improving. Stubbornness or pride will only leave you vulnerable. Remember, the minute you think you know everything is the minute you've closed yourself off from growth. Stay curious, keep learning, and don't be afraid to say, "I don't know, but I'll find out." Number 3, never get weapons unless you're trained to use them. There's a lot of talk in the prepper community about weapons. Guns, knives, bows, you name it. And sure, having a weapon might make you feel safer, but let me hit you with some hard truth. A weapon is useless if you don't know how to use it properly. Worse than that, it can become a liability. If someone else knows how to handle your weapon better than you do, it can be used against you. That's why training is key. I've spent years training in martial arts and teaching others how to defend themselves. And one of the first things I teach is that a weapon in untrained hands is just a tool that can quickly be taken away and used against you. For example, many people buy a gun thinking it'll protect them in a crisis, but without proper training, that gun might as well be a paperweight. The reality is, if you're going to rely on weapons for self-defense, you need to commit to training with them regularly. Go to the range, take self-defense courses, learn how to handle your weapon under pressure. Because in a crisis, you won't have time to fumble. And it's not just about shooting at a target. You need to understand how to disarm an attacker, how to secure your weapon, and how to react quickly in high-stress situations. If you're serious about using weapons as part of your preparedness strategy, make sure you take the time to become proficient. Otherwise, it's just an accident waiting to happen. Number 4. Never be an armchair expert. It's easy to sit back and watch prepper videos or read books and think, I've got this. But theory without practice is like owning a car but never learning how to drive it. Just knowing about survival skills or preparedness techniques is not enough. You've got to get out there and actually do it. Stockpiling rice and beans is great, but do you know how to cook them if the power goes out? Do you know how to purify water in the wilderness? Have you ever actually built a fire in less than ideal conditions? These are not things you want to be learning in the middle of a crisis. Experience is everything. For example, you might have watched a dozen videos on how to build a shelter, but until you actually try it yourself, you won't realize how tricky it can be. Maybe you'll discover that you didn't gather enough materials, or maybe the structure isn't as sturdy as you thought. This is why hands-on experience is invaluable. So don't be just an armchair expert. Get out there and practice. Go camping. Try living without electricity for a weekend. Test your water filtration system before you need it. You'll be surprised at how many things can go wrong when you're actually doing it, and that's okay. The goal is to learn and improve so that when a real emergency hits, you're not caught off guard. Number 5. Never jump on bandwagons. In times of uncertainty, people often look for guidance, and unfortunately, that can lead them to jump on the latest prepper bandwagon without doing their own research. But here's the thing. Just because something is popular doesn't mean it's right. In fact, in many cases, it's just the blind leading the blind. You need to stay grounded and make informed decisions based on facts, not trends. For example, you might hear everyone talking about a certain piece of survival gear, but is it really necessary for your situation? Or maybe there's a new fad diet in the preparedness community. But have you actually researched its long-term health effects? It's easy to get swept up in the latest trend, especially when fear is involved, but the best thing you can do is take a step back and critically evaluate whether that trend makes sense for you. Do your own research. Find trusted sources of information. Learn what works best for your particular environment, your body, and your situation. Don't just follow the crowd. Make sure you're leading yourself in the right direction. Number 6. Never stop improving. I can't emphasize this enough. Survival is about constant improvement. In my family, we have a saying, once you stop improving, you die. Now, I don't mean that literally, but the sentiment is true. Complacency is the enemy of survival. Just because you've learned a few survival skills or stocked up on supplies doesn't mean you're done. You're never done. There's always room to improve, whether it's learning a new skill, refining an old one, or simply gaining more knowledge. Think of preparedness as a journey, not a destination. There's always something new to learn, always ways to get better. Maybe you've got a good stockpile, but have you practiced rotating those supplies to ensure they stay fresh? Maybe you know basic first aid, but have you taken an advanced course? Maybe you can grow food, but have you learned how to preserve it for the long term? The point is, there's always another step you can take to be better prepared. Number 7. Never make excuses. We all know that life gets in the way. There are bills to pay, responsibilities to handle, and sometimes prepping just feels like one more thing on the to-do list. But there's a big difference between reasons and excuses. A reason might be, I can't afford a solar generator right now, and that's perfectly valid. But ask yourself, is it truly a reason, or is it an excuse? Could you find a way to make it happen if it was important enough? Preparedness doesn't happen overnight, and it's easy to get discouraged when things don't go as planned. But instead of making excuses, focus on finding solutions. Maybe you can't afford a solar generator today, but could you start saving a little each month to buy one down the road? Or maybe you don't have the time to take a full survival course, but could you watch a few videos or read a book on the subject in your spare time? There's always a way to move forward if you're willing to stop making excuses and start getting creative. Number 8. Never give up. Lastly, and perhaps most importantly, never give up. Life is hard, and survival situations are even harder. There will be times when you feel overwhelmed, when you think you can't keep going. But giving up is never an option. Challenges are a part of life, and in survival situations, those challenges are amplified. But here's the thing, challenges are also opportunities. Each challenge you face is a chance to grow, to improve, and to prove to yourself that you're capable of more than you thought. When the going gets tough, that's when you need to dig deep and push forward. Whether it's a personal crisis, a natural disaster, or a societal collapse, giving up means defeat. But if you persevere, if you keep moving forward, you'll come out the other side stronger, more capable, and better prepared for whatever comes next. So no matter what happens, remember, you've got this. Stay calm, stay focused, and never give up. Thank you for watching.